For you to make $1 million, the amount of people's lives you have to change in the pursuit of that goal is the key. That's what is exciting for me. For those who don't know me, I collect old books. I was reading through The Art of Money Getting from 1840s and then P.T. Barnum's version from 1880s. And I was like, what's my version? What's The Art of Money Getting look like today? So I'm walking through my process in this century on The Art of Money Getting. I want you to understand that when we talk about the art of money getting, I'm not talking about money getting like going to the bank and trying to get money from them.
I'm a big fan of money. That's where you come in.
Money is not a byproduct of anything else besides value. If you want to have money and have wealth and have all these kind of things, it all comes down to you producing more than you're consuming. Just like losing weight, I have to burn more calories than I consume. If I do that, then I lose weight, right? Same thing is true in business. If you want to make more money, you have to produce more value than you are consuming, and by doing that, that's how you become rich. That's how you become wealthy. Now for me, when I'm looking at how do I create value for something, it's always tied back to something very specific and very tangible. And it's what we call an offer. And one of the biggest problems people have when they're trying to master the art of money getting is they're going out there and they are creating a product. And the problem with the product is that a lot of people can have the exact same product. Well, if 5 people are selling the same thing, then the person with the cheapest product is the one who actually wins. My mentor, Dan Kennedy, used to say, there's no strategic advantage of being the second lowest price leader in town. So instead of trying to decrease the price to increase the value, instead we add value, so we offer stack. If you ever see me do a presentation, you notice when I make an offer, I'm always like, the first thing I'm gonna sell, here's the course or the mastermind or the seminar, and then I start adding other bonuses. And the goal of the bonuses is to make the offer unique to me so that I'm not competing against anybody else. And number 2 is to increase the value. A good example of this, when I was speaking at this event, and I was trying to explain this concept to everybody about how they can increase the value of anything that they're selling. And I pulled my phone out of my pocket and I said, okay, this phone right here, you can buy these at Best Buy, Walmart, online, anywhere for like $800 a piece, right? Who here would give me $800 for it? And there's like 2 people's hands went up. I was like, what if I sold this to you for $500? If I undercut everybody else and people's hands start going, I'll buy it for $500. I'm like, hey, see, that's the problem. This is where most people are trying to create values by decreasing the price. I'm like, it never works that way. And I said, let me show you guys a magic trick. I said, I'm gonna show you how I can increase the value of this phone right here. The value of this phone isn't just in the hardware, it's in all the stuff inside this phone you can't get anywhere else. Over the last decade of my life, I have bought into every single course on business, marketing, sales, and personal development on the planet. On the low end, I've spent about $500,000 on courses and programs. I've got a pretty extensive Rolodex. You have access to every connection that I've ever built up over the last 20 years of my business. And then I started going through every single app, saying all the things on this phone. I said, how many of you guys here would be willing to spend $10,000 on my phone right now? And like 3/4 of the audience's hands went up. I'm like, cool. Who do it for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000? A couple hands start dropping, $50,000, $60,000, $80,000. And by the time we get to about $500,000, there's still 3 people's hands up. And I asked one guy, I said, why would you do that? And he grabbed the microphone and said, because based on all the value inside that phone, that actually seems really, really cheap. If you increase the value of the offer so much to look at that and say, wow, that seems really, really cheap, then it's a no-brainer. That becomes really, really easy to get somebody to buy the thing from you. So the first step in money getting is figuring out how to create an offer. Now, if you look at me when I speak at seminars or on stages, and if I'm making an offer stack of all the things, I don't just go like, first thing you're gonna get is this, and then you're gonna get this, and then you're gonna get this. Every time I introduce a new piece of the offer, I tell the story about it. If I was trying to sell you this book right now, I'm like, hey, do you wanna buy a book on the art of money getting? You'd be like, sure, how much? I'm like, $3,500. You're like, $3,500, that seems insane, right? I'd never pay $3,500. Now let's come back in time. I wanna tell you a story, guys. I've been buying old books that are in what's called the public domain, which means that because the copyright's expired, I can republish them and I can sell them as my own. I make my own derivative works. I might teach a course from the information from the book, and I do that, and I can sell these things. In fact, recently I bought a book for $1.5 million, which seems like a lot of money. Rusty spent so much money on this old book set, but it was the original pre-first edition copy of Napoleon Hill's Laws of Success. I turned it into an audiobook, I turned it into a course. We launched that, and during the launch week, we made over $2 million from the launch itself. So I spent $1.5 million, I made $2 million back, and now I have an asset I can sell over and over and over again. I keep 100% of the money. Now what's fascinating is I was trying to find like, what's the first book ever written on how to make money online? The very first book I ever found is called The Art of Money Getting. It was written in 1849. I've not found any other copies, but if you went and attached a course to it, this is an easy $300 to $500 course, and you could probably sell 1,000 copies in the next year. So how many of you guys would be interested in buying the only copy of this? You'd be the only person in the world who could do an actual course on the art of money getting. If so, it's $3,500 for this book. You have to learn how to tell a story about each of the elements inside of your offer. And the reason why we do that is because a story will increase the perceived value of the thing that you're trying to sell. But if you really want to master the art of money getting, it's all about speed. How do you increase the speed of you making money? And the best way I know to increase the speed is transitioning from one-on-one sales to one-to-many sales. Even guys like P.T. Barnum, who was America's second millionaire. Do you know that? In fact, we gave him an honorary 2 Comma Club award at one of our recent funnel hacking lives. And if you look at what he did, like, it wasn't just going out and doing 1 sales at a time. He was like, let me gather the many, bring him to a circus or to an event, and then from there he would sell to them. And for me, we do this typically through live events, through webinars, through teleseminars, through videos, where I'm not speaking one-on-one with people, but instead I'm speaking one-to-many. And the presentation, I'm going to craft it in a way that tells the stories about the offers, it provides value to people up front, and then from there I can make the special offer to them. It's creating an offer, learning how to tell stories in a way to increase the perceived value of that offer, to make it feel cheap, make it feel inexpensive. And number 3 is making a presentation, gathering the many so you can do a one-to-many presentation so that every time you make a sale, instead of making 1 sale, you make 10, 20, 30 sales, which speeds up your ability to gather money faster. I hope this is helpful for you guys and gives you guys some of the frameworks of what we use to get money into our businesses, into our pockets. It's the same thing you should be doing as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys have any other old books that you're interested in that I could look at and I could read. Again, I'm a collector. I've been collecting old books for the last couple of years. I'm obsessed with them, and The Art of Money Getting by both P.T. Barnum and Lehman Thomas Reed. 2 great books. They're even more applicable today than ever, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. With that said, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next video.